Fox News. Breaking news.
4 American heroes flew humanitarian missions over international waters in 1996. Cuban MiGs blasted their unarmed planes from the sky, killing Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. For 3 decades, their families waited, and tonight the wait ends. President Trump's Justice Department just unsealed a superseding indictment charging Raul Castro himself and 5 co-defendants with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of aircraft, and 4 counts of murder. This is not politics. This is criminal accountability. If you kill Americans, America comes for you. Now, this indictment restores a core principle of the Republic. American lives matter, and the United States will no longer look the other way when tyrants murder our citizens. For nearly 70 years, the Castro regime operated with impunity while families grieved and the world stayed silent. Today, that era ends. President Trump and this Justice Department are telling every dictator and every regime that titles and distance no longer protect killers. Cuban Americans who fled oppression see the first real sign that their homeland may finally be freed from the criminal clique that ruined it. The message is clear and it's powerful. Justice delayed is not justice denied when America First leadership's in charge. And while the regime in Havana loses its grip, Americans are rightly asking how to protect their families from the uncertainty that follows. And here's what your financial advisor will not tell you. By the time the news tells you to buy gold, it's too late. You're waiting. I get it. Everybody's waiting. Waiting to see if the ceasefire holds, waiting to see if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, waiting to see what happens next. But gold's not waiting for you. It moves on fear, on instability, and on the unknown. And it moves faster than you can react. So while you're waiting for certainty, the rest of the world is planning for what comes next. You can still position your retirement with real assets before the next shock hits. Visit nextnewsgold.com or call the number on the screen to speak with Noble Gold Investment Specialist today and get your free gold IRA kit before the next wave of global turmoil arrives. Stability comes from strength, and that includes protecting your savings the smart way. So the real story is what comes next. President Trump just told reporters that the Cuban regime has lost control and America stands ready to help the people. Miami's Cuban exile community exploded with emotion, calling this the beginning of the end for the Castros after decades of being ignored by the United States. And everyone else, this is not just empty talk. But this also sets up the prerequisite for them to go in and take out Raul Castro just like they did Nicolas Maduro. Now, this is from the U.S. Department of Justice, unsealing the superseding indictment. For the first time in nearly 70 years, senior leadership of the Cuban regime has been charged in the United States for alleged acts of violence resulting in the deaths of American citizens. President Trump and this Justice Department are committed to restoring a simple principle. If you kill Americans, we will pursue you no matter who you are, no matter what title that you hold. Todd Blanche, going after Raul Castro himself. So the DOJ unsealing the charges against Castro for the 96 murders. And President Trump explains why this moment matters so much to Cuban Americans and their families. This posted by the Department of State today.
We have Cuba on our mind. Very important. Been a lot of problem for a lot of years, and this was I think it was a very big moment for people that, not only Cuban Americans, but people that came from Cuba, that want to go back to Cuba, people that want to see their family in Cuba. I think this is a very big day, very important day.
A big and important day for people who want justice and to reconnect with Cuba. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche now spells out the commitment to hunt down killers regardless of title. This is what he posted. Over 3 decades later, we're committed to holding these accountable for the murders of 4 brave Americans, Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. For the first time in nearly 70 years, senior leadership of the Cuban regime has been charged in the United States for alleged act of violence resulting in the deaths of American citizens. So Blanche is holding the Cuban regime accountable for the 4 American deaths. FBI Director Kash Patel lays out exactly how those MiGs shot down the unarmed civilian planes. In '96, 4 Brothers to the Rescue members, that's the name of the organization, including 3 U.S. citizens, took off from Florida on a humanitarian mission to help rafters fleeing Castro's Cuba. Cuban MiGs shot their civilian planes out of the sky over international waters. Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. For 30 years, their families waited for answers. The FBI never forgot. Today's superseding indictment charges Raul Castro and 5 Castro regime co-defendants with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, 2 counts of destruction of aircraft, and 4 counts of murder, and is a major step towards accountability. So Patel naming the victims, confirming the FBI never forgot, and rapid response team shows the full Miami announcement charging Raul Castro with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals. Here is the message, and it's clear.
Today, we are announcing an indictment charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals. Mr. Castro and the others are charged with additional crimes as well, including destruction of aircraft and 4 individual counts of murder. The indictment was returned by a grand jury sitting in this district in Miami on April 23rd, 2026, and was unsealed today. For nearly 30 years, the families of 4 murdered Americans have waited for justice. On February, this is a story all too familiar. On February 24th, 1996, 2 civilian aircraft operated by Brothers to the Rescue were shot down over international waters by military aircraft from Cuba. 4 men were killed: Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. They were unarmed civilians and were flying humanitarian missions for the rescue and protection of people fleeing oppression across the Florida Straits. As alleged in the indictment, Raul Castro and 5 co-defendants participated in a conspiracy that ended with Cuban military aircraft firing missiles at those civilian planes and killing 4 Americans. Those are the allegations returned by a federal grand jury. My message today is clear. The United States and President Trump does not and will not forget its citizens.
Wow, he's doing a heck of a job, isn't he? Way better than Pam Bondi ever did. So the announcement makes it clear the U.S. will not forget a citizen, and Trump addressing whether the step means any escalation with the failed regime. Should we expect any escalation here with Cuba?
Options on the table here, Mr. President. Should we expect any escalation here, or should they expect anything? Yes.
No, you won't. There won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart. It's a mess, and they've sort of lost control. They've really lost control of Cuba.
No escalation. Define escalation, Mr. President. He says no escalation is needed because Cuba is already falling apart. Now he explains what's coming next to the Cuban people and their families.
What's coming next for Cuba?
Well, we're going to see. It's a failing nation. You see that. It's falling apart. They have no oil. They have no money. It's a failing nation, so I just can't tell you that. But we're there to help. We're there to help the families, the people. And again, a lot of those people are related to me in the sense that I've had such a great relationship with Cuban Americans. They supported me at a 94% level. That's a pretty good level. And their relatives are there. So we got to on a humanitarian basis, we're there to help.
So President Trump pledges America will stand with the Cuban families. Now he describes how the Cuban population of Miami is reacting to the indictment.
I think the Cuban population of Miami and certainly beyond Miami, people that came there that were decimated, whose families were ruined, appreciate what the Attorney General just did today and was just doing now. He's just watching it. So we have Cuba on our mind. Very important. Been a lot of problem for a lot of years, and this was I think it was a very big moment for people that, not only Cuban Americans, but people that came from Cuba, that want to go back to Cuba, people that want to see their family in Cuba. I think this is a very big day, very important day. They supported me to the nth degree. They supported me at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And so I think it's a very important moment.
How ironic would it be for them to be sent to Guantanamo Bay, right? So the president highlights the strong support from Cuban Americans. A Cuban exile in Miami now shares his emotional reaction after 67 years of waiting for justice.
I do want to bring in Oscar Fernandez here with me. Hi. He left Cuba in 1961 when you were just 15 years old.
That is correct.
Tell me about what today means in the news of the indictment of Raul Castro.
It means some justice for the Cuban people. For 67 years, I'm sorry, we have been ignored by everybody. The United Nations, the Organization of American States, the European Union, everybody. So we hope this is the beginning of the downfall of the Castro regime.
Wow.
I'm sorry, a little emotional. And we're ready to go back and help in the reconstruction of our country. With work, with money, with investment, and with love. That has been lacking in Cuba for the last 6 decades.
Oscar, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. I know you're getting emotional because this is a huge day for the Cuban community.
It is.
You and yourself, multi-generations. What are you hoping happens next?
Well, this should be the beginning of the downfall. This should be the beginning of a liberation of Cuba with the help of the United States. See, I can no longer fight, but the U.S. is being a second home to us, truth be told. I got kids and grandkids born here in Florida and in New York. And we're ready to do our part. This administration is the only administration I'm sorry, that is trying to open the door for us.
Wow.
And we are not going to let this opportunity go by.
Wow. Wow. So the exile says this could be the beginning of the end for the Castro regime. The White House delivers a simple message that justice will be served. This is what the White House posted. Justice will be served. Enemies of America neutralized by President Trump. Maduro, Khomeini, Abu Bilal al-Minuki, and Castro indicted. Arrested, killed, and indicted. So the White House confirming that justice will be served, and now reports show the U.S. has deployed an aircraft carrier to the Caribbean as tensions with Cuba increase. This from BRICS News. U.S. deploys aircraft carrier to the Caribbean. So, it's not escalation. It's justice. Trump style. So the pattern matches exactly what happened before regime change in Venezuela. First, criminal indictments delegitimize the leadership. Then the failing state language frames the humanitarian case. Then the United States positions itself to support the people directly. Raul Castro, charged with murdering Americans, changes everything. So this is no longer a foreign policy debate. It's a criminal case against a sitting regime, and the groundwork is laid for far stronger measures if the collapse accelerates. Cuba's watching. The world is watching. And America is finally acting. So President Trump just delivered long overdue justice for 4 murdered Americans and sent a clear warning to every tyrant. The Castro regime's on notice. Cuban families who've waited generations now see a path forward. So share this report so every patriot knows accountability's back in style. And drop a yes in the comments if you believe the killers of America should face charges no matter what title they hold. And make sure you text the words raw feed to that secret number on the screen, 844-840-4963. Do it right now to bypass the algorithm and get direct updates from me on your phone. And if you haven't checked out the merch shelf yet, what are you waiting for? We got some new America 250 gear waiting for you, because America First means never forgetting our citizens and never letting tyrants off the hook. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and keep fighting for the truth.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.